Greetings, dear friends. Welcome to the meditation for the common good. Today we work in the first day of distribution of the Gemini Solar Festival, the Festival of Christ, Festival of Humanity. Following the reflection and meditation in the preparatory meeting, the topic that was selected for our Gemini-Cancer cycle is Seeing Leadership Through the Eye of the Soul, Clearing the Old and Building the Lighted House. This topic is related to the theme that we hold during the Signs of the Cardinal Cross, of which Cancer is the part. New leadership, cleaning the house of religion and the house of politics. Today, we start this new cycle with the meditation, invoking the vision and asking the hierarchical guidance for us to recognize the seeds that will be shared in the group and magnetized through our group meditation at the time of the new moon. And so we begin.
Our purpose is to magnetize the ideas of common good, freedom, and brotherhood as the highest values of humanity at this time. We recognize and cherish diversity of perspectives in our group, creating a space capable of invoking, receiving, interpreting, and radiating a higher synthetic vision. We serve as an Asramic outpost, building a group bridge of Buddhic energy. We evoke the soul of humanity. We envision humanity as being the seed that is flowering. We prepare the way for the reappearance of the coming one. And over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We usually start this part of the full moon meditation with reviewing the seed thoughts that came from our first quarter moon meeting where we meditated. And we have 11 seed thoughts that I will read, and then we will move on. First seed thought from the meditation in the first quarter moon. Spiritual vision. Second seed thought. Discrimination, detachment, and love. Third seed thought. Let us behold the world through the minds of our souls. Those loving where thought forms of wisdom can clear thought forms of fear. Seed thought number 4. The importance of proving the reality of the soul. Seed thought number 5. From a treatise on cosmic fire, page 11. The secret of life is hid within the heart. Number 6. Expanding consciousness by breaking through the fog of old thought forms. Number 7. through democracy, through oneness. Number 8, all is one. Number 9, pure alignment in service to emanating and amplifying love wisdom. Number 10, through the eyes of the soul, greater understanding for how karmic work. Number 11, and our final seed thought, persistent courage of the heart. Now, with these seed thoughts is how we came up with our topic for this cycle, the Gemini to Cancer cycle on the Cardinal Cross. And from here, we're going to move over to Judy, who is going to lead us through our meditation. So over to you, Judy.
Thank you, Tracy. So in love, let us breathe together as one and settle in, aligned to the group heart. Feel the joy of communion. Standing together in group. We are the one planetary server. Expressing love for all life. So let us breathe and radiate. Today is the first day of distribution following the Gemini full moon. An opportunity to consider what we have experienced during this festival period of 2025 and what impels us forward in terms of responsibility and our work. So let us take a moment. Gemini, the great communicator, the light of interplay, pure second ray of love wisdom. Quote, because the ray of love wisdom, the second ray, pours through Gemini, it becomes apparent how true is the teaching that love underlies the entire universe. During its impulse, a centennial note from the council chamber was sounded. Let us take a moment to relive that full moon moment. We are also told that the love of deity reaches our solar system primarily through Gemini, which forms with the constellation of the Great Bear and the Pleiades, a cosmic triangle. The following is the description found in the old commentary. So let us take a breath. Upon the golden triangle, the cosmic Christ appeared. His head in Gemini, 1 foot upon the field of the 7 fathers in the Great Bear, and the other planted in the field of the 7 mothers, the Pleiades. Thus for aeons the Great One stood, his consciousness interned, aware of the 3, but not of 4. Intent with suddenness, he heard a sound go forth. Arousing to that cry, he stretched himself, reached both arms forward in understanding love, and lo, the cross was formed. Stepping this energy down to the cross of service, let us now envision and invoke the following. It's an adaptation from Esoteric Advent. Let's take a breath. We hold our head in the constellation of Gemini, imbued with cosmic Christic love. We place 1 foot in the field of Shambhala, the Father. The other foot in the field of hierarchy, the brothers and sisters under the Christ. Suddenly, motivated by pure intuition, we respond. Arms expanded in compassion, deep and understanding love. Aware of the 4 world square, our sacred earth. From within our being, the sacred word, Om, sounds through our forms, blessing the soul of humanity and all forms on earth. The cosmic significance of the Gemini full moon in 2025 has been magnified this year, not only by the Centennial Conclave, but also astrologically by an extraordinary double sextile. Uranus, ruler of Aquarius, enters Gemini, while Pluto, transitioning into Aquarius, forming a harmonious triangle in alignment with Neptune conjunct Saturn in Aries, standing at the midway point between Uranus and Pluto, poised on the axis of creativity. This powerful configuration closes an energetic cycle that began in 1945, when the Great Invocation was introduced to the world and the United Nations was impulsed. Today, we begin a new note. All planets are at their earliest degrees, having each entered a new field of energy and sign. Let us breathe in this rare and in fact unique energetic triangle configuration and appreciate the hand of God at work. So let us take a breath. We are told in the externalization of the hierarchy that hierarchical readjustment to humanity is being carried out at this time in the ashrams by the setting up of magnet centers, which through their direct activity will influence humanity in the coming large-scale process of reorientation. You must remember that these are not centers or concentrations of forces, but groups of disciples, whose quality is oriented toward mankind and whose potency of thought will act magnetically upon aspirants and humanitarians. As part of the new group of world servers, we are those magnetic centers. So let us breathe and reflect on the impact of our work as the meditation for the common good, and realistically consider the potency of our thoughts. So let's take a moment. Now let us commit to strengthening it. Standing between the heart of hierarchy and our beloved humanity, we connect with all our brothers and sisters, masters and elders, in an antakarana of hearts. Hearts reaching to the masters, to the ashram, to the Christ, the Logos, the avatar of synthesis, and beyond, up to Gemini, the heart of cosmic love. We stand on the edge of a new iteration, expanding through this chain of love. Now, breathing in, let us ground this energy where we stand, including in Geneva, the heart center of humanity. We are told that at the conclave that the date for Christ's return will be set and the externalization of the hierarchy will proceed. And so we make invocation to the coming one. Come forth, Almighty One, hear our call, hear our prayer, whilst we offer ourselves in service. Strengthen our hearts and minds, thoughts and offerings, for the lifting of our brothers and sisters in preparation for your appearance. As the new group of world servers, we work as a reflection of hierarchy in the externalization. The energies of harmony through conflict are now releasing across the globe, producing temporary chaos, but ultimately forging a new consciousness. As we hold this idea during the cycle of Shambhala impact in the year 2025, let us ponder our place and role as the one planetary servant to humanity. We'll take a moment here, but this is worth considering in other of your meditations. We are told that the work of destruction is practically over, and the work of the builders is beginning. We read that the new group of world servers has been created as, quote, an intermediary body between hierarchy and the general public to reach the mass of men and to increase the ability of the general public to view problems in terms of the one humanity, end of quote. So this is our charge. So with this in mind, let us consider our efforts in that direction as we consider our topic, seeing leadership through the eye of the soul, clearing the old and building a lighted house. Let's take a breath. In the conscious light of a relationship that is Gemini, culminating the 3 festivals, with an aim toward a new birthing and incarnation in Cancer to become a lighted house, we consider the questions that Alexander will put up. And I'll read the first question. If the goal of hierarchy is to break through dense thought forms, as a partner with hierarchy, how do you go about doing this, and where do you start? We'll take just another minute on this. Okay, so let us move to our second question. What does spiritual vision look like in leadership, governance, and religion? And how do you use Davic and extraplanetary energies to support it? We'll take another minute. Okay, next question. How do you see the externalization of the hierarchy happening to support oneness and bring through love wisdom? And do we have a role? One more minute. Om. Thank you for your meditation and service. And I guess I'll turn it over to Alexander.
Thank you, Judy. We open now the floor to share our impressions.
Thank you, Alexander.
Whenever you're ready, please unmute yourself.
Thank you for this perfect time to contemplate the questions. And thank you for the meditation, Judy, that anchored us in a way in the wholeness of our planetary connection through the higher energies that are pouring in to us. when I asked myself the first question, the starting point for me had to do with the experience of hearing a call, of recognizing that probably all of us have known the experience of being pulled out of one's immediate circumstance into a framework that could not find life and purpose apart from connection with the angelic evolution, the etheric energies that are seeking to help us. And it's always a great gift to be reminded of our place as that expression of hierarchy that flows through us, through our soul infusion. So when I thought of how did you want to go, Alexander, one question at a time?
Whatever feels right for you, Martha.
Well, they came together. So without too much explanation, the second question answers itself in terms of finding our organic position in leadership and giving everything we are to that particular position. Some of us are upfront leaders, some of us are throat centers, some of us offer our insight. For me, it's about taking the role of guardian. And big yes to answer 3. I won't go any further. Thank you for listening.
So I have some thoughts to share on the questions. In pondering the first one, how do we break through the dense thought forms as we partner with hierarchy? I think that's the place in some ways that we're in now. And there's a number of different techniques. Certainly, we've all known about the glamour work, and we can use the techniques of glamour and disillusioning thought forms of illusion by utilizing the light and using that technique. I think that sometimes seeing where things should go instead of the old thought form is to put light on the positive and to let old thought forms hopefully die of attrition. So that's another way. Synthesis has been used to bring the polar opposites together, so using a technique of synthesis and fusion. So there are particular techniques that we have learned of, developed together as service workers that I think when we're doing the kind of work that we are committed to, of putting out those positive thought forms in society in different places like leadership, we also have to look at the thought forms that are there and consider how to deal with that dense thought form. When I thought of the second question, what does that vision look like? In some ways, in the UN SDG group that I am a part of, I feel like I hold that vision. I hold that vision in terms of humanity. When I look at the 17 sustainable goals and their higher correspondence being that on which our relationships and interactions are based. And also when I look at the United Nations and I see its centers in perfection and the idea of it being the house for spiritual leadership, then that is the vision that I hold for both governance and leadership. And certainly every week I work directly with the Deva of the United Nations and an army of seventh ray Devas. And every week we basically look at the astrology for the week and align with that. So that's another way. And the last question, actually, in externalization of the hierarchy, there is a wonderful section that actually gives the vision from Master DK of what that externalization will begin to look like. And it will be in seeing hierarchy move into leadership positions in all of the various domains, all kinds of leadership. And it really, I think our role is to bring light to help make that happen. So those are my thoughts on those questions. Thank you.
I'd like to just say something about this breaking through the dense thought forms.
Helen, I'm sorry for interrupting. Your sound is not very good. Can you move a little bit closer to the mic?
I haven't pulled it up. That makes sound.
No, it's good. Thank you.
That's one of my dense thought forms. I think something is happening, that the light is shining through in some way over the planet, because I think some of these dense thought forms are so dense that we don't even see them as thought forms. And when the light does begin to break up their density, and I don't think it's just me, because I speak with other people who we're actually beginning to see the substance of these really dense thought forms. I mean, who knows how ancient they are. And we have our own thought forms, but I think nations have these thought forms as well. And it's important to recognize them as simply thought forms. That's all they are. But of course, the energy follows thought, and there's so much density about. But I do have this sense that the light is shining through and shattering, breaking up these thought forms. So it was just other thoughts there, but that was the one that just came at the moment. Thank you.
I don't mean to make light of anything, but what's come to my mind is that as these negative thought forms get heavier and denser, I'd like to find a way to compost them. I don't know exactly what that means, but it came into my mind so strongly, I thought I should say it. And also, for number one, I think what came to me was just one main thought: to just stand strong, and be what we think should be. Be the channel, the radiator of light and love, as much as possible. And as we do that, to be aware of one another and of other spiritual workers, of the soul, of humanity as a whole, to as much as possible stand in that consciousness and radiate no matter what we're doing. And I think spiritual leaders, number two, spiritual leaders will be people who are able to do that. I think that's it for now. Thank you, everyone. If you have ideas about composting, please let me know. Thank you.
I would like to speak to composting. The Tibetan speaks in esoteric healing of a triangle through the solar plexus of the pancreas, stomach, and the liver. And those three organs can almost touch in the center of the body. So that there's a sort of a triangle and a point there. He says that this triangle gathers all the lower energies from the solar plexus itself, from the spleen, the sacral, and the base. And I always think of this as the composting triangle. It again, like I was saying, the thought forms, it breaks down the substance of all the density. And then he refers to the energy lifting up into the heart, and he refers to the cleansing waters of the heart. So I like that triangle. I call it composting triangle, and it's making use of all that lower stuff, breaking it down, and then lifting it into the cleansing waters of the heart. And he then does go on to the triangle, which I was using, was it last week? I can't remember. But I was in one of our meditations. From the heart, it lives up to the ajna, and then to the heart in the head. And that allows the heart center between the shoulder blades to resonate with the heart in the head, and the soul and that heart energy come together. But that's just my little take on composting. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Helen.
I'll share one other composting triangle. And in esoteric astrology, in the Gemini section, there is an area where they talk about Gemini being in triangular relationship with other constellations that have Mercury as a ruler. And so there are three others, but the one that struck me was Gemini with Scorpio, because I hold both of those as a Gemini Sun Scorpio ascendant. But the idea of Scorpio being so human and bringing forth all of the things that need to be cleansed. and being across from Gemini, which is the relationship, the interplay with soul and personality, and bringing them together in a down pointing triangle, which is Mercury. And Mercury as the planet that is next to the sun, second to the sun, second to the father, I think of it sometimes, or connected, undershadowed under Uranus, it brings it down into the earth. So that's what the triangle looks like, and it anchors it. So I think of that triangle as basically the soul starting to, in Gemini, become more visible, the composting happening in Scorpio, Mercury supporting that, and that going down into the earth, which is humanity, for that energetic to infiltrate humankind. So that's a triangle that I've been holding for these last couple of weeks that I feel it has a part of composting to play. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. Got to hear. It really, Scorpio, it's just composting down to the essence, everything else, everything but the essence goes into compost. And it's interesting because to me, the great composter in Scorpio, not Mercury, although, it's really important, but to me, it's Pluto.
Yeah.
It's it just comes and brings everything that's not quite fresh, I would say, up to the task, to the surface. So, and one needs to look in all those positions and see where they stand. And about density, it's an interesting point. I think, and it's in healing. And so I think it's page 348. If I don't, maybe I'll need to check that. There's a teeny tiny message on transmutation, desire into aspiration. And that is actually the goal with which Christ is working. So the density lessens with the mental plane. Kama Mamas is thick, and Kama Manasic presences in infiltrations, I would say, in the thought forms are very heavy. And sometimes, we don't even discriminate, necessarily not us, but in general, humanity doesn't discriminate between the desire for things to be a certain way and the thought about that they might be a certain way. And mental plane allows different views. It allows this space of different approaches. So as soon as I sense this density of dogmatic density in any point of position, that is the moment to realign, get a breather, and start thinking. Start thinking. It's the famous phrase from British Parliament. I think some like Lord Treasurer was speaking. He said, I think in the 30s, he said something like, "Gentlemen, we ran out of money. We have to start thinking." So that is also important part, that things that cannot be covered by that they cannot be offset by money anymore. They require essence. That's it.
This is Catherine in Hawaii, and I'd like to apologize for being late, and I came just in time for the beginning of the question that Lynn brought up of composting and these incredibly powerful and poignant and useful responses. And I can add my experience in working with this. I'm trained in a tradition that's very congruent with the work that this group does and the people in the Cedarkins and the Theosophical, the Blue Books, all that. And there's been a correspondence for me with them. But anyway, it's Training in Power Academy based in Canada. And there's 22 levels to that, and each level has its healing or transmutation factor. And in level 7, there's work that we do where we're in a very, very close but different dimension of our humanness. And it's a space in which the density of identity, of former beliefs and ideas and opinions, sometimes even some of the traumatic aspects that have been endured by the person, all take form sort of like a plaster around, and then that encases the vibrant essence body. And we have learned to focus our will in service to love and to the law of free will, and in surrender to spirit, or the highest, for the love force of the universe, into a beam of light that acts as a transmuter of this plaster. And we've learned how to slowly burn that, and only that which is no longer of use to the soul's path, to the spirit's path, to the human's journey, it would burn. And so that burns. It's almost like a focused ray that does sort of a cremation of all the plaster. And for my visualization in this, as I'm holding in this, I'm holding the person in this dimension, that part of them, and and they have requested the healing. So the free will and their right to free will. The way that the end of the healing occurs is that the plaster has been cleared off of all aspects of the outer body, and I also scan the inner part for congestion of inner leftover density, and the image that ends up being there is an Oscar-like statue, a golden, shiny golden statue of that looks like the person in their human form these days. And then there is a wielding the sword that destroys illusion and Mara, and that is wielded down the spine in energy for clearing any parasitic entities that may have been collected along the way. And I find this, the typical report of someone that receives this healing is that they're tingling all over when it's over, and there's a lightness of being. And what I believe that it creates is the healing in our vernacular within the community is, we call it the stress healing, and it relieves the stress between the baggage and the load of density of the inert, no longer useful identities, thought forms, beliefs, opinions, toxicity of living in this realm in the collective consciousness of humanity. And there seems to be a greater lightness of being and a more and a deep, very increased effect of the speed of manifestation of what the person intends going forward. So anyway, thank you for listening. And it's part of my service, to do that. And doing this work that we do does it ongoing too, in a small way. But sometimes there just needs to be a release of very old baggage, which is also, multi-life. It's the concurrency. It's not just this life. It's kind of like the soul line that is cleared. And for me, the soul mantra is something that I use regularly to keep things really clear. Thank you.
Now that I think about it, I'm seeing the connection, of course, between composting and the Devic realm, and the plant kingdom, and the hierarchy, of course, in intuition, that sort of thing. And what came to mind again was a different sort of ceremony, where the individual, the people are, all of our souls, I guess, and personality too, is attuned to the higher vibration that we're trying to bring in. And it was sort of what was pictured in my mind was sort of a dance, based, the music being that higher vibration essentially. And I could see people dancing, and as they danced, um, they were looking towards the higher aspects, and the lower density was just falling away. And it was a release too of, in a sense, and maybe not many of the other people experiences, but a letting go, in the sense of not feeling any guilt about the things that were falling away, not feeling any need to fix them, or not feeling, uh, just letting the connection go and looking forward, and knowing that all that was being let go is going to be uh, turned into something good eventually. Not feeling a responsibility to fix it, that it would turn into something rich, a rich compost that would always, in the end, um, bring further life to some sort of being. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I was thinking about something similar. I was thinking about a thought form. If we find the truth in the thought form and holding it in the light, then it doesn't matter if the outer form of the thought form is melting away, because it is not longer serving the purpose. And then a new thought form can build around the essential truth in the thought form. So essentially the same that, as you said, but with other words. Thank you.
Time runs fast, and we're coming close to the ending of our meeting today. But if anyone would like to share your impressions, we have a few minutes left, so please do it now.
In the chat, I just want to say that Yoel shared with us for the seed thought for number 2, or the question number 2, that he would use the word discernment versus discrimination, but discernment. So thank you, Yoel.
I believe it was related to the seed sods that were collected at the preparatory meeting.
Oops, sorry.
I just want to share that as I'm looking at the questions, the idea of breaking through a thought form has to be followed by number 2, which is a vision, because what is the next that is put in its place? So I almost see these two now as working in tandem, which I didn't necessarily before. Thank you.
Yes. And yeah. So I'm thinking about one of the spiritual vision look like in leadership is ability to work on a level of group consciousness. I mean, truly spiritual vision in the leadership, of course, is a planetary consciousness. Humanity consciousness, planetary consciousness, and those levels. But at least group consciousness. And we invoke that daily in a daily vigil. There's a service going on for many years now, with group standing and invoking, and I believe it is an important part of the process. And second is that when we think about density, I think we really miscalculate, or we completely take out of the equation the issue of karma. That dense matter that needs to be irradiated and transmuted to the point of being capable of receiving this radiation. And cancer is related to that. It shows us the depth that we can that we can allow to work with. So the farmer knows how deep to plant the seeds, so they will not dry and not freeze, but in the right time they will sprout. Over. Thank you.
Hello. I'm thinking on question 2 that there is quite a lot of leadership that is now using spiritual vision rather than personality vision. I'm receiving a lot of emails, mainly wanting money, admittedly, the charities, but they definitely are trying to lead with spiritual vision, and I think it's very encouraging. Thanks.
Thank you, friends. Let us continue holding these questions in our group chalice, and we will have opportunity to meet again at the quarter moon meeting to share further on the impressions and ideas that come to us in relation to these questions. We would be able to meet for the quarter moon meeting on June 18th and for the new moon meeting on June 26th. So please mark your calendars and let us continue holding these questions. And also reminding that we have the community impressions board where we can share any quotes or ideas or links that give us inspiration as we hold these questions and this topic in our group challenge.
And the line of lighted, loving energy from all of us from Geneva Center.
And today I would like to offer a mantra to close our work. For me, it somewhat answers the question that Lynn, you posed for us, how we compose thought forms. We'll continue sharing about this, but here's the mantra. It's called Channel Mantra, and it comes from Assagioli's archive in Florence that we just recently visited. I'm a channel for the will of God. I'm a channel for the peace of God. I am a channel for the love of God to all mankind. With pure intent, I serve the whole. O thou river of miracles within me, pour thy waters of compassion upon the dead body of humanity. Bring forth thy resurrection and thy life to all mankind. Flow forth thy healing power and make men whole. Oh.